I'm back with another electrical project, and for this particular project I will be replacing a bathroom exhaust fan light. I'm going to be honest, there's nothing wrong with this exhaust fan light. It works just fine. There's the light, and you can hear the fan turn on. So what gives? Why am I replacing it? Well, of course this would make for a good video. I think exhaust fans are kind of interesting to replace, so I thought it would be a neat video to work on. But really it comes down to, if you look at the cover, you can see it's kind of disintegrating. This fan is original to my house. It was installed in 1999, so that's 26 years old as of me recording this video. So the plastic on it's become very brittle over the years, and anytime I try to clean this fan or change the bulb, plastic just breaks off everywhere. And honestly, something else funny, every so often it will just randomly drop plastic, which is kind of scary if you're sitting in here. So originally I was just going to replace the cover, because you can buy replacement grill covers for these exhaust fans. But after shipping and tax, it was close to $50, which is ridiculous because I just bought a brand new exhaust fan for like $55. So I just decided to replace the entire thing, because it might be a matter of time before the motor stops working, or maybe something else goes wrong. And actually, every so often the motor kind of clicks, if that makes sense. It just sounds like a lot of racket until it stops. But I just decided to replace the entire thing, so that's what we'll be doing. I've replaced many bathroom exhaust fans, and I am a big fan, pun intended, of these newer quiet exhaust fans that seem to be pretty trendy recently. They are very expensive compared to standard exhaust fans, but honestly they're worth it. You get what you pay for, and they are very high quality. This is a Panasonic brand that I've installed. I like these a lot. Newtone also makes some that I've put up, and I like those a lot too. So yeah, you can hardly hear when they're on. I went ahead and turned this one on just for demonstration to see if you can hear it. And yeah, it's super quiet. I can hardly tell it's even running. So yeah, having one of these super quiet exhaust fans is nice, but there's kind of one problem that I've found, at least in my opinion. So traditionally, bathroom exhaust fans make noise. And traditionally, you have exhaust fans in bathrooms, specifically rooms with toilets. Now, I'm not going to exactly spell it out, but if you're using the toilet for a specific reason, you typically kind of want the exhaust fan on to, I guess, get rid of the fumes, but also make noise, just kind of a background noise or white noise or whatever you want to call it. So if you catch what I'm saying, I don't really like to have these super quiet exhaust fans in rooms with toilets. Areas with showers, or maybe some other spaces that would benefit from a quiet exhaust fan, I'm all for, and that's typically when I use them for replacements or whatever. But in this specific circumstance and other situations where you have an exhaust fan in a room with a toilet, I like the ones that make noise. So I will be kind of installing a more lower end traditional exhaust fan. I mean, they are still really nice, don't get me wrong, but it's not your super expensive quiet one like that. So that's what I'll be using. This is the replacement exhaust fan I will be using. This is also a Newtone. I really like these. One of the most popular exhaust fan manufacturers, and with good reason. They're super nice quality. So they still actually make the same one that I am replacing, but those kind of look dated to me, so I'm going to install this one, which I think is a little bit more modern. It's 50 CFM, which I think will be perfect for that little room, and 2.5 zones, so that's about typical exhaust fan loudness. This replacement's going to be super easy because the new exhaust fan is the same size as this old one, so I do not have to cut away at the ceiling to make the hole larger, and I have attic access, which is always ideal when replacing exhaust fans because it makes it so much easier, which you will see that later on. Of course, it is possible to replace exhaust fans without attic access. I've done that before, but it makes the whole process super slow and more time consuming. As with any electrical project, it's always a good idea to turn off the power before you begin. Let's get this replacement going. So our first step is to remove this cover, and I'm doing this one-handed. I have to hold the camera with my other hand. It's a little awkward in here. There is the light cover, and I will now remove this light bulb. Alright, here's a better look at all this plastic that's just falling apart, as you can see. I mean, it's bad. Even the lightest pressure, you can see, just breaks it all off. Again, very annoying when cleaning, but let's now remove this piece, unscrewing this center nut here. There it is. Very gross on the inside. And we can unplug the light cord. And I'm also going to unplug that as well. That's to the motor. More of the cover just broke. And that's all we have to do downstairs at the moment. Now let's head up to the attic. In the attic now, I've moved away the insulation just to make it easier to work. And I also have this non-contact voltage detector where I will make sure there is absolutely no power on this wire. It's always a good idea to check and double check before disconnecting any electrical wires to make sure it doesn't have power. The first step is to remove the exhaust duct. Pretty easy, there's only a single zip tie, and then just removing the duct from the fan. Now I will remove the housing from this framing member. It's actually just secured by staples, oddly enough. Normally it's either nails or screws, but in my case this will be pretty easy. I just have to pry it out and remove the staple. Sometimes it can be more challenging with nails. I got this side done, and I'll also do the other side too. Now to lift up the housing from the ceiling, kind of a little bit difficult. I actually ended up damaging the ceiling a little bit, but I will fix it later on. Removing the housing sometimes can be very easy or a little bit difficult, just depending on how the hole was cut. Since there's a lot of leftover wire up here, I just thought it would be easier to cut it from the old exhaust fan instead of taking it apart and disconnecting it. I'll also remove this staple just to make it a little bit easier. Okay, we are ready for the new exhaust fan. So I've opened this one all up, and normally there is both some disassembly and assembly required before you install one. So the first thing I need to do is take out the motor assembly. Alright, I've snapped that out, so there that is. We can put it down. And now we need to assemble the duct outlet. That's in. It pretty much just snaps into place. I need to remove this little junction box, and it pretty much just pops open just like that. Next, I will be removing this little L-shaped plate because we need to install a cable clamp, and this is the ground screw which our ground wire will connect to. The cable clamp is in place, so this new exhaust fan is ready to be installed. Back up in the attic, I will now be placing the new housing in the hole and carefully screwing it in to the framing members. I generally prefer these T25 Torx screws. They're super easy to install and very strong. Now to skin back the outer sheathing of this cable, and then I will separate each wire on the inside. Next, I will insert all of the wires into the cable clamp we just installed and snugly secure the wiring. I don't want to over-tighten it or under-tighten it, but just the right amount to keep it secure. And I'll add back a staple so the cable is secure in place. Again, not too much pressure, just enough where the cable is snug. Finally, reattaching the ductwork, I kind of had to squeeze it into place on this exhaust outlet. And to secure it and seal it, I'm using this foil HVAC tape. I'll be honest, I really don't know much about HVAC. I don't work on any of it. But to what I've seen in my research, HVAC foil tape is some of the best when installing and securing ductwork. It seals it really well, it's super strong, and some of the new construction projects I've worked on, most HVAC technicians use this foil tape. This tape can be kind of difficult to place it where you'd like. It easily gets stuck on things. But after a few rounds, I'm satisfied with it. Of course, before I leave, I want to fluff back the insulation. Alright, back downstairs, here is the new exhaust fan housing. It's actually smaller than the old one. You can see with that gap. I thought these were the same size as the older styles. And I also damaged the ceiling a bit. I think when I was pulling out the old housing, it held on in this corner and broke apart a little bit. But no big deal. I will get this repaired as well as fill this in so no odors or moisture get into the attic. And something else too is the cover will go over this stuff, so it doesn't have to be the best patchwork. But yeah, let's go ahead and wire up the exhaust fan. Again, it's a little awkward in this room. I don't have space to put a tripod, so I'll kind of individually do the wiring and show you what I'm doing. But it'll be pretty easy and straightforward. The first wire I will be connecting is the ground wire, which will go to that ground screw. The ground wire's connected. Now I went ahead and connected the neutral. There's 2 neutral wires on the outlets here, so I connected it to the white neutral coming in, and that leaves us with a black wire and a blue wire. So the black wire goes to this black outlet, and that is the fan, and then this white outlet is this blue wire, which is the light. As far as the wires that are coming in here, there's a black and a red. Traditionally, the black wire is the fan and the red wire is the light. That goes for both exhaust fans and ceiling fans, but I have seen it the other way around, so normally I just check to make sure which wire is doing what. But anyway, so let me get these last 2 connected. I've got those last 2 wires connected and everything is tucked back in there, and the little plate has been reinstalled. So let's install the motor, or the actual fan itself. This is going to be awkward one-handed. There it is, all secured. Now we can take this black plug and plug it into the black outlet, just like that. Here's the light kit and cover, which I will plug into the white outlet, and now I will assemble it to the actual housing. The cover took 2 hands to install, so I went ahead and did that. And now we just screw in the light bulb, which is an LED bulb. I know it doesn't look like it. And lastly, install the cover. And there it is, the new exhaust fan. Let's go ahead and give it a test. Let's test out the light. There it is, very bright. I like it. And we will test out the exhaust fan. And there it is. It's all working. The new exhaust fan definitely beats spending $50 for a replacement cover. Well, at least to me. I enjoy electrical projects like this, but the labor might not be worth it to you or whoever else. So anyways, that's all for this video. I appreciate you watching. Let me know if you have any questions or any comments you'd like to add. And check out some of the other electrical videos on my channel that you might find helpful or interesting. So that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.